Jai Gurudev, Jai Masters. As you become clearer in life, you realize that spiritual growth and personal growth are exactly the same thing. They're just looking at two sides of the same coin. Why is that? Spiritual growth is supposed to be about God, and personal growth is supposed to be about making something good of yourself, cleaning out yourself, raising yourself. I would prefer that nobody knew anything about God, that they only knew about cleansing themselves. Because if you're not there yet, God's just going to be a concept to you, a belief, which is of no use, nothing. If you work with yourself to raise yourself, you will come into a state where you will understand what they meant by the word God. You don't have to use the word God. Use any word you want. It's just describing a state of being. So what does it mean to grow personally? It means to notice that you have issues inside yourself. You think you have issues outside. No, you have issues inside. There are fears, insecurities, desires, needs, wants, self-consciousness, embarrassment, guilt. These are all words that describe things going on inside ourselves. Guilt is not something outside, it's something inside. Need is not something outside, it's something inside. Yes, you're guilty about something. Yes, you need something, or you think you do, but the actual experience is inside of you. Those experiences, these terrible things I just talked about, that's how you go to God. Those are your pathway. You cannot ignore those, you cannot run away from those. They are literally the roadmap of achieving spiritual states. But people don't want to do that. They want to say, well, but those things are not spiritual. Guilt is not spiritual. Insecurity is not spiritual. Embarrassment is not spiritual. So how in the world can they be the roadmap to spirituality? Because they are what is in the way of spirituality. And since they are what is in the way, they're what you must deal with. They are the obstacles you must remove. Well, if I remove the obstacles, how do I become spiritual? Wrong. If you remove the obstacles, you are spiritual. There's nothing else to do, period, nothing. All right? If you have a river or a stream in which there's rapids and there's spray and there's currents and eddies, and you look at it carefully and you say, well, upstream it's calm, flowing nicely, but here, oh my God, it's a complete mess. It's rapids and eddies and sprays and all kinds of things. If you look, what you're going to see is that there are rocks, there are obstacles, blockages in that stream, that when this water flow is coming down, they're hitting those things, and they are then creating currents, creating disturbance. So if you ask me, what should I do if I want to get rid of the disturbance, and I tell you, take the rocks out, and you say to me, well, I understand I could take the rocks out, but then what do I do to get rid of the disturbance? That's what I just told you. You take that stuff out of there, there's nothing else to do, period. You take those rocks out, it becomes absolutely still and beautiful, and a beautiful flow. There is nothing else to do on your spiritual path except remove the obstacles to spirituality. Once you do that, and to whatever degree you do that, it just is the natural state of things. Spirituality is the natural state of things. It is not something you achieve. It's not something you strive for. It's not something you do something. There are no techniques to achieve God. There are no techniques to achieve God. There are techniques to remove the obstacles that you put in the way of God, right? But there are no techniques to achieve God. You see the difference? All right. So that's where everybody goes wrong. So the Gita says, of men who seek me, there are some who reach very high states. They're very reverent. They're great. One, perchance, comes to know me as I am. Whoa, that's scary, right? That's because of what I just told you. You do all the tapasya and renunciations and everything you want to do, and all you did was become somebody who people respect because you did all these fire ceremonies and tapasyas and did mantras for 67 years, and so without breathing, everything, anything you want. All right? It is the removal of the blockages, then the natural state. Really, that analogy I gave you of removing those rocks from the water, you can see that. Once those rocks are gone, You don't have to get an iron and iron out the current. You don't have to do anything to make it right. It was the obstacles that were keeping the experience from being its natural state. It's exactly the same inside of you. That's why these disturbed forces inside of you are the roadmap to spirituality. They are the rocks, period. All right? Those things I described, all those dirty little words, embarrassment, self-consciousness, guilt. It's just beautiful. So what do I do with those? Now, the first is to recognize, yes, I'm a mess. Like AA. My name is Joe and I'm an alcoholic. My name is Mickey, I'm a flaming mess. Right? You just sit there and look in there and be honest about what you see. I don't care about what you want to see. That's the biggest trap in the world. That's spiritual ego. That's like sitting here on the side of the stream. I'm going to I'm going to wear that analogy out. Sitting here on the side of the stream, the rapids and all the currents are going, and you're sitting there saying, I visualize calm. I'm visualizing calm. I don't see calm. Something wrong. I'm not doing it right. I visualize calm. What's the matter with you, man? Remove the rocks. But in order to remove the rocks, you better be honest about what you're looking at. All right? Remember Shakespeare? This above all, to know self be true, and it shall follow as a night the day. Thou shalt not be false to any man. All right? This is the truth. You have to be willing to look and see what you see. Do not try to put nice white lights around your garbage and sit there and say, I'm pure. All right? It's not the right. That is spiritual ego. That is, I want to be there. I'm not there. So I'll use affirmation. I'll use this. I'll tell people I am. I'll behave in a way. I'll dress accordingly. I'll do every single thing that a spiritual person would do. Then I'm spiritual. No, you're not. It's nothing. It's the biggest trap that could possibly exist. There's only one way out, and that is to do the work of removing these obstacles that are in the way of the state of absolute beauty and ecstasy of divinity. So, okay, first you recognize. Don't be afraid to recognize. There's nothing wrong with seeing the rocks. If you don't, I'm going to use this analogy. If you don't like seeing the rocks, you will never get them out, right or wrong. If I sit there and somebody told me there are rocks in the water and they're causing all the currents, I'm so afraid of them because I don't like the currents. I don't want to see rocks. Do you? No, I don't like rocks. They cause trouble. They must be of the devil or something, all right? So I don't want to see these rocks. Well, you're never going to see them. You're never going to deal with them. You're never going to do anything because you're afraid of them. You understand that? That's denial. It's psychology, denial, fear, etc. You have to be willing to sit there and say, I have now progressed spiritually to the point of understanding that I am blocking the flow of God, the flow of Shakti, the flow of spirit from inside of me. I am doing it. I am doing it. There, that's your first point, right? Nobody's making you drink. Go to AA, right? Nobody's making you drink. Oh, no, she drives me to drinking. No. My job, right? No. Go, come back when you're ready, right? You're the one who's drinking. You're the one who picks the glass up and pours stuff in it and puts it in your mouth and swallows, right or wrong. Nobody else is doing it. It's the same thing here. You have put these blockages inside yourself, and you are holding these blockages inside of yourself. So if you're not willing to look at them, nothing good is going to happen. Do you understand that?